Hey everybody, it's Sean and Trey with Reactions to the Classics. Before we get started today, we just wanted to invite you to take a look at our Patreon page where we have all kinds of reward tiers, anywhere from reacting to an entire album to songs, supporting us for as little as $1 a month. It really helps us out.
And you can also check out our Facebook and Discord groups down below. Got a great community of people who love music. And all that to say, y'all, let's get to today's video. What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined again by my dad, Sean, and today, Reactions to the Classics. We're going to be looking at a classic 60s record from the Zombies, Odessey, and Oracle. This comes courtesy of our supporter, Matthew. As always, man, appreciate the support, and this was a fun record to dive into.
Agree 100%. I had never even heard of the Zombies, guys, but this album itself is number 100 on the Rolling Stones top 500 albums of all time. Came out in 1968 in the UK, but Clive Davis, the head of the record label in America, didn't like it and didn't bring it out here at that time. It was recorded over 3 months in 1967 at Abbey Road Studios and Olympic Studios in London. They had no budget, Trey, no budget at all. So they had no session musicians. So there wasn't multiple outtakes. They rehearsed heavily before they went into the studio. And because there were no session musicians, they're in Abbey Road. They've got to fill out the rest of the song. So what did they use? They used a Mellotron. Not just a Mellotron, but John Lennon's Mellotron. He left it there from the Sgt. Pepper recording sessions. So I just thought that was pretty cool. Also, the album was mixed into standard mono. However, as another concession towards their limited budget, Argent and White, two members of the band, who due to their songwriting royalties earned more than the rest of the members, personally paid for the stereo mixes because they deliver it in mono and they're like, wait a minute, this has to be stereo. So where's it coming? Out of the pocket of the guys, Trey, who had no money, man.
Yeah, that is tough. And because of that, morale was at a low point during this time. 2 singles were released, Friends of Mine and Care of Cell 44. They did not do too hot. And they ended up performing their last performance in mid-December of this year in '67, and then they split up. They went their separate ways. And on the album, notes, there's a quote from William Shakespeare's The Tempest, and if you'll notice, Odessey is spelled incorrectly.
Yes, it is.
This was not intentional, even though the band tried to cover it up and say it was. This was just an old-fashioned error from the designer of the record sleeve. So a couple interesting tidbits there.
Yeah, and the way this album came to be in the US is one of the CBS executives, Al Cooper, was in London, and he picked up a copy of this album, listened to it, and said, this is fantastic, man. There's 3 singles on here. So he convinces Clive Davis to release this, but not on the main record label of CBS, but on Date Records. Date released Butcher's Tale, Western Front 1914. They thought that it was going to become this huge single because the Vietnam War was going on, but Trey, we'll get to that song in a little bit. It was never meant to be released as a single. The Zombies kind of freaked out, going, what are you releasing this song?
A bit uncommercial in its sound.
Yeah, but there was a huge hit later on, Time of the Season.
We're going to start with one of those failed singles.
We are.
Care of Cell 44, and this one is unique because it's written from the perspective of a lover writing to their partner in prison.
In prison, the vice versa of what you normally get.
And essentially they're just longing. It's a song filled with some hope and optimism where they're very much looking forward to when their lover can come home from the prison stay, mentioning the room that they used to be in, how the sunshine goes in it. And right away you can notice those great harmonies that are throughout the record.
That's what I have down, nice harmonies.
And nice bass line. It was just soothing and pleasant on the ear. I thought it was a great opening track.
Yeah, it's beautifully arranged as well. Really good. One of my favorites on the album. Don't know why it didn't hit as a single, but it darn sure should have. That's going to bring us to the second track, A Rose for Emily, based on a short story the same name by William Faulkner, first published in 1930. Everyone's getting married, Trey, but she isn't. Only her pride keeps her going. And I like this one just fine. I didn't love it, but I liked it. It's a little haunting, but it's supposed to be a little haunting.
Yeah, I mean, it does have like another almost upbeat, catchy melody to it, driven by the piano, but that's a bit ironic considering we have lyrics like, and as the years go by, she will grow old and die. The roses in her garden fade away, not one left for her grave, not a rose for Emily. This was short and to the point. Had a little Eleanor Rigby type of vibe to me.
That's pretty good,
the subject matter and just how it was arranged a bit, and then that's gonna move us on to track 3.
Maybe after he's gone. So this one is sad if you're the poor dude. The lyrics basically talk about he's in love with this girl, but now she's off with another guy. So he's just holding out hope that maybe once that other guy's out of the picture, that's a big if, I guess, but once he's out of the picture, that she'll come back to him because he still loves her. Nice backing vocals. I thought this one was good.
Yeah, I thought that this one had a definite heavy Beatles influence.
Yeah, it did. Nicely arranged.
With the harmonies coming in here as well. That just is what immediately sprung to my mind. I thought it was another good tune. Beechwood Park is track number 4, and this actually is a real place. Bassist Chris White noted that his father owned a general store and would sometimes deliver to an all-girls private school called Beechwood Park. And here we got a hazy guitar, we got some organ in there. This sounded a little bit Kinks-like to me, especially from that face-to-face record, and at the end it comes to a crescendo where they just get a harmony going, longing for Beechwood Park.
It's a little bit haunting too, the arrangement of it. I thought it was good, and that's going to take us to Brief Candles, the 5th track. It has a man and a woman, 2 separate stories, basically both wallowing in their pain of a loved one leaving them. They're fighting through their pain to get through it. There's a nice piano at the start, then it builds. Complex arrangement. This is one of my favorites on here as well.
Oh, absolutely. There's a great lyric. His sadness makes him smile because he's remembering the pain of the relationship. I thought the songwriting and the way the song was written was fantastic from the female and male perspective. Gave it a unique vibe.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially at that time, and it makes you wonder because there's these brief candles, these brief flickers of light that come from remembering the pain. So you can either look at that, I think, one way of, oh, there's good moments in the pain, or, oh, it's just a brief candle and then it fades away and then you're back left longing for this relationship.
I think that's a very good perspective. And I liked, that there was a man and a woman, because we always talk in society about all these differences between men and women, but in a lot of ways we feel relational pain in the same way. So I thought that was great. And we're going to finish off the A side with Hung Up on a Dream, and it's kind of self-explanatory from the title. This guy is hung up on a dream he had and the peace and calm that it gave him.
Yeah, and this dream, he notes the people with like flowers in their hair definitely had a hippie flower power type of vibe to it, and he's hung up on this, I think, idea, the idealistic ways of kind of that movement at the time, and who knows, maybe he either wants that for himself, or maybe he knows that at the end of the day that might be fleeting as well, which ultimately it was. So I thought it was, again, I am enjoying the songs up to this point. A lot of different perspectives on topics that were written about at the time.
I agree. This one has a nice piano again, and I put angelic chorus. Each song is so nicely arranged, man. This has been a great journey so far. We're going to start off the B side with Changes. Now, I have liked every song on the A side. I actually didn't like this one too much. I think basically the lyrics, I was curious on what you thought about it. She was rich, but he knew her. She's become rich, but he knew her back when she was just a normal commoner.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big part of the tune, because he notes that she used to change with the seasons. Great imagery and lyrics here to conjure up an image of this woman who is now classy, has all these things, and now it's almost like she's a more consistent person and has become rich. And he just remembers the time that he knew her back then. I'm with you. I wasn't necessarily crazy about this song, but it was fine for what it was. And we're going to move on to track 8.
I want her, she wants me. Basically, it's what it sounds like. Again, he wants her, she wants him, and because of that, he's at peace. He doesn't need anything else.
Yeah, and Argent really kind of takes the lead vocals on this. I enjoyed the line. She told me to be careful if I loved her because she had given her heart once before. This is a little more of a positive song, because this guy's like, if you give me a chance and I'm able to love you, you're not going to regret it. Other people can see the happiness when they're together, so I thought it was a solid
song. I
thing.
put down pretty good, fun, whimsical, a little different than obviously the tune before it and some others. That's going to take us to This Will Be Our Year, which the lyrics on this are wonderfully written. Basically, they've gone through a lot of hard times, but he's telling her it's all going to be worth it. This is going to be our year where everything is going to be great. And as we're filming this in March of 2020, Trey, we need a little bit of this in the world right now, because we're in the midst of craziness. But I enjoyed this one. I thought it had a nice piano.
Yeah, this was one of my favorites on the entire record. The song just instills happiness and puts a smile on your face. I just loved it. Good to see songs where stuff actually works out at the end. good job by the Zombies on this one. And then we go to another tune that I enjoyed quite a bit, Butcher's Tale, Western Front, 1914. A very unique subject matter because it's written from, you can tell the title, from a World War I type of perspective.
Yeah, very interesting. Chris White wrote it with the band, and it was recorded in one take. Then the lyrics tell of a battle from the viewpoint of a soldier in the midst of the fight. Instrumentation is limited to Argent playing harmonium. Sound effects are also incorporated to help give it a strange sound. The sound effects were developed by playing an album backwards and speeding it up. It has great lyrics. Sound effects are interesting. I'm not overwhelmed with the vocal performance. This song is not meant to be a single. I mean, I mentioned at the start, this is not a single that you're going to spin over and over. It's a wonderful story.
Yeah.
It's fantastic songwriting, but it's not.
This would be one of the last songs on this record I would choose as a single.
Yeah, no, it's insane, and that didn't do him any favors initially either. But I mean, it's good for what it is. It serves the purpose that it's supposed to serve.
Yeah, this was honestly one of my favorites. I thought, actually, I'm a little different on you. I think that the vocal here sounded like a young John Lennon.
Oh, wow.
Actually,
yeah, we are different there.
I was a big fan of this, and the arrangement was just exquisite. You had some fear within you. You were worried that between, after every single note that the hammer might drop on you type of deal. And that obviously fit the lyrical accompaniment because he also mentioned like a preacher who encouraged them to go out and fight. Yet the preacher hasn't seen the atrocities that these soldiers have and just the horrendous things that they constantly go through. And they say, if you were to see this, you wouldn't be encouraging us to go out and fight.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of a commentary on what has been from time immemorial, right? The guys sitting behind the desk send the other guys out to fight. So I could see where the record company may a little bit have used that and tried to apply it to the Vietnam era, but this is not something that's going to become an anthem because it's just not catchy like that. It's not supposed to be. That takes us to the next to the last track, Friends of Mine. Now, Trey, I don't have a lot of friends, but we have a great community here. Our live stream crew that meets every Friday night, I consider them friends of mine. I feel like I know some of them more than I know some other people I come across with all the time in my life. But this song is interesting because he's just naming off the different couples that he spends time around. There's some sarcasm to it, I think, because
at the start especially.
It's at the start because I think this guy's alone. But then looking at all his friends, it also gives him hope that, you know what, man, there may be somebody out there for me and I can have the happiness that these two people have.
Yeah, this is, I think, the theme song for Third Wheels Everywhere.
Yeah.
And, we did have that sarcasm at the start where I think he wants that. He's maybe a bit jealous and envious, but as it goes around and the song progresses, I think he comes to realize that he's happy, he has people that care for him.
And that brings us to the final song, the song that went over big in 1969, and the song that I knew, even though I didn't know it was the Zombies.
Yeah, I knew it as well as soon
as I heard it. I was like, Time of the Season.
As soon as you hear it, you know what it is. It's very alluring type of tune.
Yeah.
It's a bit seductive just with the subject matter and the music that just grips you right away. Bass line, legendary.
Yeah, definitely.
I just think it's a bona fide classic and one of the better closing tunes that we've reviewed thus far on the channel. It is
Big
my
statement.
favorite song.
Big statement. Yeah, it went to 3 in the U.S., 1 in Canada. Still didn't chart in the U.K. The poor Zombies could not catch a break in their homelands. That's going to bring us to our favorite tracks. For me, Time of the Season, Brief Candles, Carousel 44. But there were several on here that I liked.
Yeah, I'd had Butcher's Tale in there for me, as well as This Will Be Our Year.
Yeah, you talked me into those as well.
And then that'll bring us to our overall score of the record. For me, I was really pleasantly surprised with this album. One of the better ones I think we've reviewed in this 2020 calendar year.
I agreed.
And Matthew told me from the start, and I think it's a great comparison. And imagine if you kind of put the Beatles and the Doors in a blender.
Yeah, you told me, you said that's a great comparison.
That's what you get, because even on that final tune, we had a fantastic organ solo in there. So you had the harmonies that made the Beatles famous, along with some strange and intriguing musical arrangements that are a bit Doors-like at times, yet in a way that is unique to the Zombies and gives them a unique sound. So for me, I really enjoyed this one. It was a compact 12. There really wasn't any filler in here. I thought it was great. I'm going an 8.5.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I loved it. Matthew, thank you so much for suggesting this one. I would have never listened to the Zombies otherwise. Like I said, I'd never even heard of them obviously I heard time of the season, but didn't know it was them. Yeah, for me, I'm right there with you. I'm actually going to be a little bit higher even, Trey. I'm going to be in an 8.75. This one was wonderful, and the only tragedy's maybe overblown, but the only difficulty in this is that these guys broke up before this thing ever came out, so they finally get over and it does great.
I know.
That's it. We don't have anything else because they're already gone their separate ways and gone into other bands and stuff. So that's kind of one of the crazy stories we come across in this journey.
Totally agree with you, and let us know what you think of Odessey and Oracle in the comments below, and be sure to give us a big thumbs up, hit that big red subscribe button. We upload every single day. We're in a variety of content. Thanks, Dad, for
that was a fun journey on this one.
Research. Again, shout out to my man Matthew, and until next time, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Happy listening, and we will see ya.